Today is Saturday, March 7th, 2015, and this is the Bunny Slippers of Evil Job Seekers Call-In Show presented by Evil Bunny Consulting. I'm your host, Tyrone Griffin, and if it's 3 p.m. and you have on your bunny slippers, you are not looking for a job. Welcome, first time and returning listeners. In this show, we discuss strategies and tactics of job search, staying motivated, and dealing with career transition. For more tips, resources, daily motivations, and to listen to archive shows, go to the website bunnyslippersofevil.com. There you also find links to the show's Facebook page and Twitter handle. If you're listening live, you can call in with your questions at 347-202-0929. Again, that number is 347-202-0929. Now, a word from our sponsors. Evil Bunny Consulting is the alternative to expensive outplacement. They give company-sponsored job seeker workshops as well as the one-on-one job seeker bootcamp with a money-back guarantee. For more information, go to www.bunnyslippersofevil.com. Resume Edit is the low-cost, high-quality resume writing company with resumes as low as $35 written by certified resume writers. You can find them online at www.resume4edit.com or call 404-860-2473. Be sure to tell them you heard about them on the Bunny Slippers of Evil Job Seekers podcast. Let 3dresumes.net turn your resume into a web page with a customized domain for $30 for only 12 months. Help hiring managers and recruiters find you, make your resume available 24/7, and get a free professional personalized email address just for your job search. You see my online resume at tyronegriffin.com, and for more information on how to get your own, go to 3dresumes.net. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome. This is the third in the video experiment. I think I'm going to stick with this. Just got to work some of the kinks out of how to actually produce it and make sure that everything happens so that we can see everything. I got a lot of, you would be surprised how much technology I got sitting in front of me right now to try to make this happen. So anyway, this week, our show, the topic is the March Job Search Q&A. For those new listeners, the first Saturday of the month, I do Job Search Q&A. This show is usually at 10 o'clock. Right now it's at 8 o'clock this morning because I'm doing a prayer breakfast at my church this morning. So I got to be in 3 places at once. So, but usually we do it at 10 o'clock on Saturdays every week. And the first Saturday of every month, I select and keep as the, Job Search Q&A for that month. Any questions you have about job search that I've gotten during the week, if either by Twitter or the Facebook page or email or in person, I try to pick a couple of them and try to answer them. So that's what we're doing this week. So I apologize if it sounds if I seem kind of chaotic right now. Again, I'm just getting used to this whole video thing and not looking at my face and looking up here at the camera. And trying to make sure that if anybody's got any questions or call in, that you can still hear them. So with that, let's go on and get started. So first question, and yeah, got my handy dandy notebook with my questions in it. The first question, why is applying for some jobs so hard? Everybody's been there. If you're applying for a job, I don't mean to throw any company under the bus, but there are some companies that truly make it hard. We've all been there when we go to we see a job and we says apply, you hit and you see in the URL for the page it sends you to that it says Taleo. And I apologize if I'm pronouncing that wrong. But we've all been there when me personally, I'll just say for myself, when I see that, I know it's going to take 25 minutes to apply for this job. Just the process of creating an account. Again, I have more accounts with that company, but it's just the way it is. So why is it so hard? Well, here's my feeling. And I have to go back. You go back 20, 30 years ago before there was the technology that we have now. You would think that with technology it would be easier, but it's not. And I think that if you go back 20 or 30 years ago, when you used to apply for a job, you had to send, you actually sent a physical resume. I mean, I remember the days when we sent a resume and you wanted to make sure that your resume, your cover letter, your envelope, and if you had a business card, it was all on the exact same cardstock. It wanted to make sure that everything was consistent. And hiring managers would end up with, 100, 50 maybe resumes for any given job. They'd have to sit and go through all those. Maybe they only got 25, whatever. But they had to actually go through each one of those by hand. They had to actually go through and read each resume. It was hard paper, so they'd have a stack of resumes. With technology, the idea is that you can whittle down the number of resumes you got to look at. See, now you might have, back in those days, the old days, before, it's funny, before Craigslist, when you looked in the classifieds in your local paper to see what jobs were available, what jobs companies were trying to hire for. So, if you had a job in Atlanta that you were trying to hire for, the only people who would probably apply for it were people that lived in Atlanta. So you might get, 25 or 30, resumes from people to apply for that job. Now, when resumes are on the internet, with jobs being posted on the internet and job boards, it is very easy to get thousands of resumes for a particular job. Very easy. Click of a button, people can send resumes in. So what I think, and this is just my own personal theory, there are companies that specialize in managing the requisition process. I'll put it like that, where they manage, the company X wants to hire somebody, they will go contract with this company to put their resume someplace, to put their job description someplace, and the company will manage any incoming resumes and filter them. And see, with technology, what happens is you might get 1,000 resumes, but then there's software that will review each resume because you got it electronically, so all the information is right there. They will compare that to the job description and filter out for you. So out of those 1,000 resumes that might be submitted for any particular job, a hiring manager may only end up seeing a couple of hundred. Reason being, the software will filter them out for you. So, that will get rid of a lot of it. I think part of that filtering process, unfortunately, has to do with how you input the data. I don't say they are intentionally making it hard, but they're not intentionally making it simple. And for example, there are jobs that I've applied for on LinkedIn, and this process was amazingly beautiful. What I mean is, you see a job in LinkedIn and say, apply for this job. You click the apply button. It would ask you, would you like to upload your resume? Hit yes. You go out, you navigate through, you find your resume on your hard drive, hit upload, and then there's a checkbox of would you like to include your profile with this. Hit yes, boom, poof, and that was it. That was the process. And it literally would take 25 or 30 seconds to apply for a job. Now, all LinkedIn jobs aren't like that. That's the thing. Some of those jobs are, you might apply for 5 jobs on LinkedIn. A few might be that way. A few of them will come back and they'll say, when you hit apply, it'll say apply on the company website. That means it's going to take you out of LinkedIn into something else. And I'm not trying to sit here and just praise LinkedIn. I have issues with some other things they do. But the process, I would imagine it has to do, unfortunately, like everything else in this world, with money. I would imagine that the people or the companies that have those jobs that they can apply through LinkedIn, they're probably paying more than others. I don't know, but that's what I suspect. But anyway, sometimes it'll take you out to the company website, and then you're under control of Taleo or one of the other. I think Brass Ring might be one of them. But there's a lot of companies that do that, that manage that process. So, and again, this is just, from my own speculation from what I've seen. So I may be totally left field, but I don't think I am, just from what I've seen. Um, so these companies manage this. I doubt anywhere in their proposal to the companies whose job requisition process, I'll call it, that they want to manage. I doubt anywhere in there is make it easy for the person applying for the job. I just don't think that's part of it. I think there's an implied understanding that, yeah, this will be an easy process, but I doubt that many of the people who work for the company with the job, those hiring managers, I doubt that many of them have gone through the process of applying for some of their jobs. Very frankly, sometimes it can be beautiful and sometimes it could be ridiculous. And to be honest, I mean, this is 2015. The technology we have available to us should make all of that very easy. I know they want to be able to filter down. I don't have a problem with that. I'm talking about the process of actually getting a resume into the system. I think it's crazy that, we still have the black holes, that you may apply for 10 jobs and you may only hear back from 4 of them. I think that's crazy. We have the technology. We can build it. All those $6 Million Man fans remember that show. We have the technology. There's no reason that it shouldn't be less painful. I've applied for jobs on Monster, Career Builder, and several of the other sites. And it's amazing how everybody kind of comes up with their own way of doing it. And I guess everybody thinks that their way is the way to go. But, sorry, one of my technology screensavers came up. But from a standpoint of a job seeker, it is very hard sometimes to apply for jobs. And if your goal is to filter down based on how many people just have the tenacity to stay with it, you're not finding your best people. You are nowhere near finding your best people. It's like, I love metaphors. It's, say for example, and I'll equate it with dating. You are looking for a bride. Sorry to be sexist in that, but you are looking for a partner. And you got a truckload of people, or boatload of people, put it like that, coming, and you're waiting on the shore, and you got a boatload of women, sorry to be sexist, of people coming over that you're going to evaluate. And you got 2 boatloads. And one of the boats sinks. And you go, cool, I don't have to evaluate that many more people. When the perfect person for you, the perfect, particularly related to job search, the perfect person for that opportunity may just decide, it is not worth this time. So I guess what I'm saying is, this is to all people, all companies with that are hiring out that are outsourcing their job requisition process. Take the time to go through and look at the process. I mean, they may say, well, we've been doing this for years. We're experienced at it. If your goal is to make it as easy as possible for people in transition to apply for your jobs, ask some of those people. Ask some of the people. Go to, you can call me, but go to, I would say go to some job networking events. Just go to them and ask the people, what they think of the process. And I did a presentation once. One of my presentations online. One of the slides I remember, the top 10 things we hate about job search, and I spent about 3 or 4 minutes talking just about Taleo. It's hard. I mean, to answer the question, and I probably jumped way off and ran down a rat hole, but to answer the question, why is it so hard to apply for some jobs? It's hard because, unfortunately, the designers of the process, I don't think, have ever asked anybody in the process what they thought of the process. I think that's really what it simply comes down to. They've never asked anybody. Because some processes are ridiculous. Some of them, I've had jobs where I've applied for a job and I had applied years earlier with that company, years earlier. And the software, remembers, I forgot my password for that particular site. So you have you forgot password? Yeah, okay, boom. Click that button, put in your email address, and it'll send you the process for creating a new password. I've waited 2 days for that email. I'm not exaggerating. I've waited. Sometimes you never get it. So, it's like, all I want to do is go on and apply for this job. Oh, but you got to set up an account first. Well, okay, I had an account, but I forgot the password. Okay, well, wait a couple of days and we'll send you a link. And I'm not exaggerating about that. I mean, there's sometimes that you never get a link. It gets lost somewhere. You never get that email that says, here's your new. I mean, now granted, some sites, some companies, you'll get that email in 15 seconds. And you can go back in and click and boom, and everything is done. But again, I mean, I think the processes are designed from the standpoint of the people who are on the back end. One of the funniest things, not funny, and nothing in transition is funny, but there have been times when there are people in transition who are HR people, and they complain about the process, and the rest of us look at them and go, yeah, now you see what it's like on the other side. You helped when this process went into place. You loved it because it whittled down the number of people who you had to review from, say, 100 to 15, and you loved it. But now you see, how the sausage is made, so to speak. Now you see what it's like when this is how the software got rid of 85 people. This is 60 of them just gave up. So anyway, so why is it hard? It's hard because there's no particular reason why it should be hard. That's my answer. In 2015, with the technology that we have in place, applying for a job should be easy. Yeah, let the software whittle me down, but the application process should be easy. I knew a guy when I was in transition once. This man had 7 patents to his name. He was in transition. That's a whole nother story. But he's the one that, he so eloquently said he saw a job that he wanted, and he saw that a certain company's name was on the bottom as far as managing the process. And he said he sat there for 15 or 20 minutes trying to decide if it was worth it to apply for that job, for what the pain he was going to have to go through. And yes, sometimes it's some serious pain between drop down boxes and put in your name. It's like, here, take my resume, upload my resume. It's in a Word format. You can access every word of it, in the database. So anyway, why is it so hard? Because nobody's asking us. Put simply, nobody's asking the people who are applying for jobs what the process is like. And I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm bashing a whole industry. I probably pretty much am. Some companies are doing it right, some aren't. The best process I've seen personally was in LinkedIn, when I was able to apply for a job with 2 clicks, upload a file, say, here, my profile is in there, and and that's the thing. If your profile is not up to date in LinkedIn, you're going to look bad. But if you have a good profile set up, then it makes it a whole lot easier. That's how it should be. Anyway, okay, moving on. For newbies, yeah, I apologize. I go down rat holes sometimes. Next question is, how do you stop blaming yourself for being laid off? Well, last week's show, I talked about changing your perspective. Human nature is when things go great, we take the credit. When things go bad, we take the blame. When things go unexpected. I was listening to Neil deGrasse Tyson, who does Star Talk Radio. I listened to that podcast. And it's funny, last week I was listening to it, and they were talking about something. I just thought about this. They were talking about if you got 1,000 people and flipped a coin, and assuming the coin, the head versus tails, the frequency would be the same. You got 100 people, 1,000 people flipped a coin, 500 heads, 500 tails. You take all the people that got heads, you did it again. You keep doing that until you get down to one person. And at that point, that one person would have flipped a head 6 or 8 or 10 times in a row. And you go to that person and they say, "Oh yeah, I was feeling it." No, they just lucked. Somebody had. It's like March Madness. Somebody's got to go 5-0. Only one team will go 5-0, but somebody's got to go 5-0 based because of how the process is. Somebody's going to go 5-0. My point is, we take, when things go great, we tend to take too much credit. But at the same time, when things go bad, we tend to take too much blame. And both of those are probably wrong. So how do you stop blaming yourself? Well, let's think about it. Sometimes maybe you are to blame. I mean, when you had that opportunity, were you showing up late for work every day? Were you doing what you're supposed to do? Were you taking cigarette breaks? I'm not a smoker. You smokers know this. Are you taking 15 cigarette breaks a day? Again, were you showing up late? That's one thing I've heard people do is, the first 90 days you're on probation. And those first 90 days, they're showing up 15 minutes early every day for work. They're taking exactly 29 minutes for lunch. They're doing everything they got to do. And then on that 91st day when, "Oh, you can't fire me now," they get complacent. They show up 10 minutes late for work every day after that. "Oh, traffic." And, they keep blaming it on other things. Did you do that? Be honest with yourself. Did you do that? Did you take your job for granted? Did you not do the best that you could when you could? Did you do things like that? If so, yeah, there's some blame you got to take for it. But not all the blame. Unless you literally went in and smacked your boss, which I hope you didn't do. Maybe not all the blame is yours, but maybe there's some of it is. But even if it is all yours, you got to move on. You have to move on and look for that next opportunity. So how do you do that? Sorry, the seat is a little bit uncomfortable and it pivots. Let me get back to my notes before I start rambling. Well, did you do your best in the job? Now, you remember hindsight is 20/20. I have a theory with decision making that people make the best decisions all the time. And by that I mean, anytime you make a decision, you make it based on the information you have at that time and the outcome you expect. Nobody makes a decision with the expectation that an outcome will be bad. Even people that try drugs, they don't think, "Oh, I'm going to get hooked." No, they think I'm going to get a little feel good, and then I'm going to be back to normal so I can go to work on Monday. But did you do your best? Biggest question you can ask yourself always is, did you do your best? If you did your best, then you know what? Don't worry about it. This is when, and I do get religious sometimes, and I don't want to turn anybody off of any, who doesn't feel that way. Aside from trusting God, aside from saying, somebody else is in charge of this, you have to move on. Probably some of the best things that can happen is you screw up. You never learn something when there's a success. You never learn. You really don't. Success hides a lot of things that are bad, a lot of bad tactics, a lot of bad skills. Success hides it. When you fail, you learn. It's like, you put your hand in fire. Dumb thing to do, but you learn. You never do that again. So even if it is your fault, even if you come to the conclusion that it's your fault, okay, what did you learn? Life is about learning. If you talk to anybody in marketing, all the advertising and things that companies do, it's all about one thing. It's all about testing. When you see a successful ad on a Super Bowl, that is not the end. That is the beginning, because it's all about testing. What kind of response do we get? Okay, how do we get a better response next time? There is no perfect ad. Okay, just like there is no perfect person. When you do something and you feel that you could have done better, okay, but you learn that. You learn that you could have done better. You learn that, okay, what are your shortcomings? Last week I think I talked about it. I said, evaluate yourself. You're good and you're bad. Evaluate all of it. Look at the bad and look and say, you know what? I could have done better with this. I could have done a better job here. I could have asked for help. I could have said I don't understand. I could have helped out a fellow coworker when I didn't. All these things you could have done and you didn't do. Okay? Learn from that. Yeah, it's painful and you get scared. It's like, you know what? I threw away a perfect opportunity. We all feel that way sometimes. For me, I just feel like, you know what? There's a reason for everything. Every bad experience, what did I learn from it? If I didn't learn anything, it was a horrible experience because I didn't learn anything. It's like you get drunk, and some of you probably done this, get drunk and start a fight. And you get your butt whipped. Why? Because drunk people can't fight. A lot of sober people can't fight either, but drunk people can't fight. Listen to me. Drunk people cannot fight. Sober people love to watch drunk people fight. You know why? Because you look stupid. Anyway, sorry. But if you get drunk and start a fight and get your butt thoroughly whooped, you learn something. You learned either A, I can either stop drinking or stop fighting, but I can't do the both together. They don't mix well. That's a life lesson. When you put your hand in fire, that's a life lesson. Learn from life. Okay? So, even if it is your fault, and if you determine or you feel that it was all your fault, that you could have done better, yes, that is that learning opportunity. You could have done better. So the next time you get the opportunity, do something better with it. Do something better with the opportunity. Seconds. See, those are the warnings that you guys usually don't hear. But because I'm running this on video and I don't have my headphones this week, I'm trying to do this. So anyway, those are. I hope I didn't ramble too. I know I did, but I hope I didn't ramble too much as far as trying to help people, help you answer the two questions. Again, thank you for listening, everybody. I appreciate it. 60 seconds. See, yeah, these are the things you guys never get to hear. That is always playing in my ears when I'm talking to you. But thanks for listening. If you are listening on the website, please feel free to subscribe in iTunes to the show. And if you like the show, please leave feedback so that others can find the show, and I truly appreciate it. If you do have a free Job Seeker Networking event coming up and you would like me to announce it on the show, please send me an email at Tyrone at bunnyslippersofevil.com. When you land, please don't forget us. Please visit our Cafe Press store and buy a t-shirt, a water bottle, a coffee mug, a clock, or a sweatshirt to support the show. I don't make a lot of money off of it, but it would help. Every little bit helps. And I want you to not forget the show. Not forget this process, because the moment you forget it, you set yourself up to be in transition again. So with that, people, thank you. We'll do this again next week. and I will talk to you soon. Take care and bye bye.